Hi everyone and welcome to this lesson where we will talk about NIST Cybersecurity Framework version 2. Version 2.0 of the NIST CSF, to be released in 2024, introduces several new features to the framework. These features build on the original 5 features of version 1.0, identify, protect, detect, respond and recover, and reflect the evolving nature of cybersecurity risk management. The main change in NIST CSF version 2 is the introduction of a new function called Govern. Let's see in detail the new structure of the NIST CSF version 2.0. First function is the function Govern, GV, which is about establishing and overseeing the organization's risk management strategy, expectations, and policy. The Govern function extracts the contents of the categories id.gv and id.rm present in the old version 1.1 of the NIST Cybersecurity Framework and makes them new categories. In this new Govern function, we find the following categories. Organizational context, gv.oc, which state that the organization's risk context, including mission priorities, stakeholders, objectives and direction, must be understood. Risk management strategy, gv.rm, which state that the organization's priorities, constraints, risk tolerance and appetite statements, and assumptions should be established and used to support operational risk decisions. Roles and responsibilities, gv.rr, which state that cybersecurity roles and responsibilities should be coordinated and aligned with all internal and external stakeholders to enable accountability, performance evaluation, and continuous improvement. Policies and procedures, gv.po, which state that organizational cybersecurity policies, processes and procedures should be established and communicated. The next function is the function Identify, ID, which aims to determine the current cybersecurity risk to the organization. First category of this function is Asset Management, id.am, which state that assets, e.g. data, devices, software, systems, facilities, people, that enable the organization to achieve its business objectives should be identified and managed based on their materiality to organizational objectives and the organization's risk strategy. Risk Assessment, id.ra. The organization understands the cybersecurity risk to organizational operations, including mission, functions, image or reputation, organizational assets and individuals. Supply chain risk management, id.sc. The organization's supply chain risks should be identified, assessed and managed in accordance with the organization's priorities, constraints, risk tolerances and assumptions. Improvement, id.im. Improvements to organizational cybersecurity risk management processes and activities should be identified. The next function is the function Protect, PR, which aims to use protective measures to sufficiently mitigate and reduce cybersecurity risks. In this function we find the following categories: Identity Management, Authentication and Access Control, PR.AA, which state that access to physical and logical assets should be limited to authorized users, processes and devices, and should be managed based on assessed risk of unauthorized access, formerly PR.ace. Awareness and Training, PR.at, which state that organization personnel and third parties receive cybersecurity awareness and training to perform their cybersecurity-related tasks in accordance with related policies, procedures, and agreements. Data Security, PR.ds, which state that information and records, data, should be managed in accordance with the organization's risk policy to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Platform Security, PR.ps, which state that hardware and software, e.g. firmware, operating systems, applications, of physical and virtual platforms should be managed according to risk policy of the organization in order to protect their confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Technology Infrastructure Resilience, PR.ir, which state that security architectures should be managed with the organization's risk strategy to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of assets, as well as the resilience of the organization. The next function is the function Detect, DE, which aims to find and analyze potential cybersecurity attacks and compromises. In this function we find the following categories: Adverse Event Analysis, DE.AE, which state that adverse cybersecurity events should be analyzed to find and characterize possible attacks and compromises, unauthorized and inappropriate activities, protection gaps, and other potentially impactful activities. Negative about cybersecurity. Continuous monitoring, DE.CM, which state that assets should be monitored for potential adverse cybersecurity events, including indicators of attacks and compromises, unauthorized and inappropriate activities, security gaps, and failures. Protection and other activities with a potentially negative impact on cybersecurity. The next function is the function Respond, RS, which aims to take action on a detected cybersecurity incident. In this function we find the following categories. Incident Management, RS.MA, which state that responses to detected cybersecurity incidents must be managed, formerly RS.RP. Incident Analysis, RS.AN, which state that an investigation must be conducted to ensure an effective response and support recovery activities. Incident Response Reporting and Communication, RS.CO, which state that response activities should be coordinated with internal and external stakeholders, e.g. external law enforcement support. Incident Mitigation, RS.MI, which state that activities must be carried out to prevent the expansion of an event and mitigate its effects. The next and last function is the function Recovery, RC, which aims at the restoration of assets and operations that have been impacted by a cybersecurity incident. In this function we find the following categories. Execution of the Incident Recovery Plan, RC.RP, which state that restoration activities must be planned and executed to ensure the full operational availability of systems and services affected by cybersecurity incidents. Incident Recovery Communication, RC.CO, which state that restoration activities should be coordinated with internal and external parties, example, coordination centers, ISPs, attacking system owners, victims, other security teams. Computer Security Incident Response and Vendors. That's all for this part about NIST Cybersecurity Framework version 2.0. So thank you and see you at the next lesson.